Um, Thank you so much for taking my call.
With pleasure.
And thank you very much for your talks. I really love them so much.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love doing it too.
Um, the question I had was, I hope I can explain it clearly. Um, so basically, um, I work a lot from the computer, and I find that I really enjoy my work and spend a lot of time troubleshooting things. But I take breaks quite often, and it's not limited to just the breaks. But I find that when I take my breaks, from that movement from being very busy and full, my mind being very occupied, and then moving to a break where suddenly my mind's not occupied anymore. Um, I find it quite uncomfortable, and in fact, and even after I finish work for the day, um, you know, I have a tendency to try and fill up my mind, whether it's by, you know, checking my phone, watching films, and it's almost like I can feel a kind of, I don't know, my sense of life is very. It seems very much like there's a big nothing. It's very empty. There's nothing you can hold on to, and so I have like a very strong desire to try and hold on. Something to hold on to, but there's nothing to hold on to, and so I try and fill that time up or fill my mind up. I might, if I've been working on something on the computer, when I've finished, I'll kind of mentally repeat it in my head to try and kind of fill that gap up. And I suppose, yeah, I was just looking for some advice around that.
Have you ever done meditation?
Yeah, yes, I've done, I do, I do meditation, but maybe not um, regularly enough. Maybe I have been a little bit kind of relaxed about it and a little bit ad hoc. Um, but maybe once, I did have a meditation practice of about, half an hour in the mornings, but that's kind of dropped
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. And what does your body feel like now?
Full of nervous energy.
Oh yeah, because you're speaking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you aware of your body when you come away from your computer and you have a break? Are you aware of your body?
No, I think I'm probably much more in my head.
So your head is telling you to do something, but you also have some sort of awareness that you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you know that you're uncomfortable?
No, I can feel it. I can feel the uncomfort.
And is
It's
that
like,
in your
it's just, yeah.
shoulders, or where do you feel that discomfort?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if I could place it actually. I don't know if I felt it. It's just a kind of awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically seeking energy. So this discomfort is this seeking energy which is afraid of not existing, and it's afraid of many things, but it's predominantly afraid of being in relationship with this world and not existing and dying, and um, and I think it fears that even though it might have lots of stories, there's some sort of fear of not existing when you die, and that not existing looks like something, like, so this imagination of nothing. So this fear of nothing when you die, of everything disappearing that you have. And that tends to be very unconscious. You're not very conscious when you're feeling it. And it leads to all types of actions. So it can lead to compulsive talking. It can lead to always wanting to socialize, always wanting to be with your partner, always wanting to do something, which can make you really successful at producing things in this life. But it's basically a fear of most probably not existing, of nothing. A fear directly of that, but not wanting to acknowledge it. It goes through layers. And you'll have thought processes around it. So your brain will have developed habits and ways of being out of that. So your neural pathways will. So when you begin to feel this nothingness, this emptiness, your brain will think of a particular thing. So your brain will fire off that it's bored, or these people are boring, or why do you have a boring life, or that you need more activity. It will have particular ways of dealing with it. And then at the root of it is this fear of being alive and fear of losing that life, and losing that life to something that does not exist. It's amazing how astute our bodies are, because that's what's actually happening all the time, is that our life is disappearing into nothing. Like, who you think you are isn't a solid entity, so it's always disappearing into this massive void of emptiness all the time. And your body kind of knows that. Like, your body is in line with that, and then it gets sort of translated by the mind, or the mind can't fathom it because the mind can't imagine nothing, and it sort of gets all muddled up and translates it into all these human emotional problems and problems in your life.
So it's a kind of misconception.
Yeah, I mean, all suffering comes from the misconception that you exist separately from life. But your nature is that emptiness. Who you are is that emptiness. Everything that you're experiencing now, even you, is coming directly from that emptiness and disappearing back into that emptiness. It's the foundation of this life. And the emptiness isn't anything you could imagine. So our brains try to translate emptiness into imagining losing everything, but it's not even anything you can imagine. You can't even see this emptiness. You can't feel it. You can't perceive it, but it's here. The source of everything is nothing. And that's total freedom. You can't be free on the human level when you believe that freedom is found in the flow of things, because you're always attached to things then. The reset button is that everything comes from that emptiness. Everything's clean, everything's being purified. Even the worst and most awful acts and the most beautiful and in-line acts are being purified in this moment, because there's nothing that's experiencing all of this. There's not a solid entity that's experiencing all of this. It becomes uncomfortable when you believe that an entity is experiencing this, and this you is a bundle of energy that's looking at things and experiencing things.
Oh, thank you. That's really, it feels very right. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, just investigate where is anything coming from, including that investigation. Like, where is the sound of my voice coming from? You've been taught it's coming from Lisa, but that's even an abstract idea, because what's Lisa? And then you've been taught, well, Lisa's something going in time, and Lisa's speaking it from time. But what's the actual direct experience? This can be terrifying. The direct experience is that everything's coming out of mystery. But you have to see through all the illusions and the tricks of the mind, and you've developed this personality and these conditions and these conditioning, and your personality can be uncomfortable and produce discomfort, and you have to see the illusion of that. You know, that when your mind screams boredom, it's not actually the reality of what's happening. This is boring, I don't like this. But those are thoughts appearing, and that you don't necessarily have to run away, and that moving and doing something isn't necessarily the answer. You have to see through all the tricks and the illusions. It doesn't mean changing that condition. Maybe you've always got a character that likes doing things. It doesn't mean changing it as such. It's seeing through it, that it's not true, it's not reality. Reality is mystery. Reality is emptiness, not a thing appearing as all things. We can't find the source of this, and the source of this has to be right here. It can't be time, because time never exists. Time is always an imagination that's appearing here.
It's very interesting listening to what you say. I don't, what the words are pointing to. It's quite, yeah.
And the trick is that your brain has thoughts, Sounds really simple. So your brain has thoughts, your body has feelings, and then the brain says they're real, and the brain says we've got to get away from these feelings. And then you're on this endless loop like a hamster running in a ball, always trying to escape your feelings. And it's like you escape your feelings right here. That freedom that you look for is right here. So you can have anger, you can have rage, you can have jealousy, you can have disaster, but it's free because it's not happening to anyone. When you try to block out any part of experiencing, then you're running in time, you're running in imagination.
Right. There's quite a lot to digest.
Yeah, you can watch it back on YouTube. Yeah, it's a lot.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Lisa.
thank
No,
you for
thank you very much
calling in.
indeed.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.